What's up, everybody? Welcome back into the Philly Sports Power Hour. And we are now joined by Eagles insider Dave Spadaro, who I know has got to be just as fired up as I am. What a game last night, Dave. Welcome to the show, brother.
Thanks, Phil. Good morning. Yeah, amazing game. I'm almost at a loss for words because you're sitting there going, this is really tough to watch for a while. What's going on? I haven't seen an Eagles offensive line kind of give up this much territory, and I don't know how long. And then just the Eagles hung around. And what a great victory in a really hostile environment. Awesome scene with the fans after the game. Team obviously really pleased with itself. And then you go, all right, it's Tuesday and the Buffalo Bills are coming to town on Sunday. So, yeah, very happy, but kind of also like the celebration's over and now you get on to the Buffalo Bills. But, yeah, a great victory for the Eagles. Huge in the big scope of things. Just a huge, huge victory.
And you mentioned our Eagles fans. How great was that to see? How many fans traveled to Kansas City, stuck it out through that miserable weather, and even after the game, they're staying in the stadium to celebrate with this team. Love our Philadelphia Eagles fans, man.
Yeah, travel well. Big shout out to everyone who's ever traveled. And it wasn't a very nice night. It was cold and the rain was consistent. Like there was a bit of wind as well. It was not a pleasant night. And Kansas City Chiefs fans are great. I mean, they're loud. The stadium's an older stadium. It's a historic stadium. So the setting was perfect. I can't wait to see, and maybe they've come out. I haven't seen them, but the early TV ratings, I would love to see what they were. I mean, they got to be through the roof. So many storylines. And the biggest takeaway for the Eagles is mentally tough team that is just not going to go away.
That's what I was talking about in the first segment before you joined. I've never seen a team like this. Look, we've had some great teams in Philadelphia. We've had some good quarterbacks, obviously a great coach in Andy Reid when he was here. But I've never seen a team do what Nick Sirianni, Jalen Hurts, and the rest of these guys have done when faced with adversity. They just find ways to win games. And Jalen, once the ball in his hands, the stat that I read Jeff Kerr gave earlier, what he's done when the game has been tied or when they're trailing is remarkable. Have you ever seen a quarterback like Jalen Hurts in the years you've been with the Eagles?
No. I mean, Donovan didn't have that kind of late game success. Those teams really played well with the lead. This team plays well with whatever. And Jalen's numbers are just, I mean, look, passing numbers weren't great last night, right? I think a 64 quarterback rating. Who cares? Threw the interception. Tough one, ended a drive. But you know that the guy then you look at him on the bench and he just is deadpan the whole time. And so, no, I've never seen anybody like him. And it speaks to somebody who has the confidence to know that they're going to go out and win, and the leadership skills that everybody follows him. And really, it's not just Jalen who doesn't panic. Nobody panics. Again, the way that the coaching staff adjusted last night, an offense that gave up 5 sacks, right? Tightened it up in the second half. The defense that gave up only 32 yards rushing in the second half. Just the whole thing. And certainly Jalen is the head, and Jalen and Nick, but everybody else follows. And so, no, I've not seen a quarterback who has captured the locker room like he has, and who is so unflappable, and who has so much success in late in the games.
And I love what you said to start it. You said 64 quarterback rating. Who cares? You know who doesn't care at all? Jalen Hurts. All he cares about is winning, and that's why I love this guy. And you look at that drive where they come down to take the lead. It's a 80-yard drive. All 80 yards are Jalen Hurts. He throws 79 through the air and then does the brotherly shove into the end zone. Things weren't going great, like you said, but when it mattered, what a drive, what a clutch moment. And he changed the play at the line of scrimmage, according to Nick Sirianni, to throw that deep ball to Devontae Smith. Just so impressive, Dave.
Yeah, when you see that kind of coverage, you have to go single coverage. You got to go for it. And I don't think anybody can cover Devontae one-on-one. Perfect throw, great catch. Not bad coverage. I mean, right there. And so But yeah, I mean, look, it speaks to Jalen always talks about himself as a triple threat. He can win with his arm, he can win with his legs, he can win with his brain, and that cannot be underrated. And so, kudos to him. They had to really hang in there with some patience last night. Got the ball, kind of saw an offense that we really hadn't seen a lot of. Quick outs, screen game, spread the field, and it didn't work early for this football team, other than that one drive for the touchdown to even it up at 7-all. Then there were just tough drive after tough drive after tough drive, but nobody panicked, and Eagles come out with a huge win. And Bill, it kind of speaks to this, like, we go week to week, and it's very natural to want to criticize and go, man, yeah, they won, but they got to play better than that to win these big games. And I thought going into last night's game that the Eagles could not play a so-so game. I thought they had to really raise the level of their game. And they did in the cerebral sense, in the patient sense. They didn't, in the offensive sense. They turned the ball over. They didn't get drives going. They still have not played their best game. But who gives a crap? I mean, they're 9-1. And in the race for the number one seed in the NFC postseason, last night's win was massive.
It really was. And you talked about Devontae Smith. How nice is it to have, when you look at A.J. Brown only has one catch for 8 yards, a lot of teams, you shut down their so-called number one receiver and hold them to 8 yards. They're probably not going to win a lot of games. But the Eagles have another number one receiver in Devontae Smith. He has 6 for 99. How huge is that to have a team with that much depth at the receiver position?
Yeah, and it just had depth in the playmaker position, because you're also missing Dallas Goedert. So, you're running out 4 wide receiver sets. You're running out 40 personnel. You're running out 2 running backs. You're moving DeAndre Swift, who also deserves a big kudos for the game that he had last night. But yeah, to have 2 legit number one guys, it's a blessing. And it's the best duo that I've ever seen, dating back to the days of Quick and Carmichael. Carmichael's at the end of his career. They never really had a partner with T.O. Macklin and Deshaun, good combination, but nothing like what we have here with AJ and Devontae. And yeah, AJ 4 targets. I mean, a little surprised about that, but that was clearly Kansas City's intention, was to take AJ Brown out of the mix. So here comes Devontae Smith, and yeah, and great to see that. Would have loved to have seen Devontae get a touchdown there, because he's just such a good player and such a selfless player. And it speaks to the team first attitude here. You haven't heard one time ever Devontae complain. You haven't heard one time ever AJ complain. So it does really mean a lot.
Yeah, and that touchdown would have given him 1 more yard, too. He would have had a 100-yard game if they would have given him that touchdown.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the defense for a second, because obviously the adjustments that were made at the half were huge. I talked about it before you came on. They were giving up a crazy clip of third down conversions in the first half, really shut down the Chiefs on third down. But the thing that surprised me the most was that the Chiefs were able to run the ball as effectively as they were in that first half. What did you see that the Eagles changed in the second half to start to shut down that run a little better?
I'm not sure it was any sort of specific change. I don't know. I saw a really mixed bag from Sean Desai. I saw it seemed, again, I'm in the press box, so like it's not all processing quickly. A bit more blitzing. Kevin Byard was all over the field. Clearly they wanted to kind of take Kelsey out of the mix. Kansas City came out and threw the ball quickly, got the ball out of Patrick's hands quickly, got it to the edges, made a couple of plays there, got the screen game going a little bit early. As you say, the run game effective. I think, look, taking the football away, the big punch out from Roby ended a drive that Kansas City had that was a really successful drive. They had 5 first downs. They were moving the ball well. Huge takeaway there. Containing Kansas City on first down was really, really important. That forced some third and longs and got the Eagles defense off the field. And I thought in the first half, Kansas City was able to run the ball in the early downs and make it easy in those third down conversion situations. So I just thought that the Eagles handled it better execution-wise. They played better up front. They won the trenches more. Jalen Carter's a force when he's out there. So I'm not sure it was a scheme change per se. It could have been. I'm not saying it wasn't. But I thought the Eagles just played better. That two takeaways in the red zone, Bill, make all the difference in the world. And then in the second half, you take that big Travis Kelce fumble, and then you get after them on first down, second down, makes for a third and long situation, pass rush, put some pressure on Mahomes and did some damage.
Eagles go 3 of 3 in the red zone. Chiefs 2 of 4 with those 2 big turnovers. So that was a big part of that football game.
Like we can break it down in any way we want, and we can talk about football, this, that, but it so often comes down to turnovers. Eagles won that battle, and red zone. Eagles won that battle, and they walk out of Arrowhead, or rather, Dia Field at Arrowhead Stadium with a victory, and it's just not that complicated sometimes.
And Reuben Frank put out this stat, Dave, to just show how impressed we should be what they did at Gia Stadium at Arrowhead. Andy Reid was 62-6 when leading by more than 10 at the half. He was 65-8 when leading going into the fourth quarter. And you're on the road in Arrowhead Stadium, not playing your best football, and they just find ways to win, man. It's amazing.
Yeah. Again, walking out of there is just huge to come out with a victory against the Chiefs. And I'm not sure that this is a vintage Chiefs team. I mean, Kelce looks not like the Kelce that we've seen in the past. They're not getting that big play from the wide receivers. But, the defense is really good, and the Eagles were able to find a way. And, look, I think the path for the Chiefs is pretty open in the AFC. I'm not sure what Baltimore's schedule looks like, but I don't really see Baltimore and Jacksonville beating Kansas City no matter where they play. So you never know down the line.
You were in the stadium, right, Dave?
Yeah.
How much was weather a factor in that game? Because you do look at the final stats. Hurts only throws for 150. Mahomes only throws for 177. How much was the weather affecting that passing game last night?
I mean, it wasn't a pouring rain, and it was like low 40s. I mean, I'm sure it had an impact. I mean, I think the balls got pretty soaked. I didn't see a lot of guys slipping now that I'm thinking about it. Did the ball glance off his fingertips because of the rain? I don't know.
What a big play.
What a huge play. And sometimes it's good. It's wonderful to have good fortune sometimes. I don't want to call it luck because there's luck on both sides. I'll call it good fortune. It was a great throw from Mahomes too. So I think it probably had a little bit of effect, but I think also, look, both teams. I was really impressed with the tackling. The only missed tackle I can really remember is when Mahomes passes it out to Rashee Rice on the edge, and he jukes past Darius Slay. I'm not sure if I remember another really missed tackle. The Eagles did a pretty good job there, and the Chiefs did a nice job as well tackling. So, I mean, DeAndre Swift had that run on the first touchdown drive that was just outstanding. The zigzagging, go to the left edge on a jet sweep, and or no, that wasn't the jet sweep. That was the first drive. He had a great run. So yeah, I don't probably Bill probably had something to do with it, but it wasn't like I've seen the Eagles play in worse rain, but for the first time this year, weather was a factor, and it didn't. And where it really didn't impact too much was the kicking game. Braidman had the not so good punt at the end of the first half, but otherwise punted really well. Covey had averaged 17-7 on 3 returns, so he had a chance to be an impact player, and he was. The kickoffs were deep into the end zone touchbacks, so it didn't really hold up the balls didn't get that heavy. So I think there was a factor, but I wouldn't say it was like a huge factor.
And we're talking a lot about Bradley Roby's play, which we should, Kevin Byard's interception, which we should, but a big play on special teams by Josh Jobe bringing down Tony, at the 9-yard line, I think it was. That was a huge play in this game.
Yep, so that was the last drive that put the Chiefs at 1st and 10 from their own 9. They got 3 first downs. The Eagles were still able to get that, fortunate play with Roby in coverage against Valdez-Scantling, and then Josh Sweat forces the throwaway, the quarterback intentional grounding. I thought another big play was the drive before 3rd and whatever the heck it was, 12, I think. Again, 3rd and long. Mahomes is scrambling around, gets to the line of scrimmage, and tries one of those little flip passes, and Zach Cunningham's there and doesn't give up, and jumps up and knocks the pass down, and puts the Chiefs makes the Chiefs punt with like 5 minutes left in the game or whatever it was, 4 minutes left. Eagles didn't do anything with the possession, but it took some time off the clock. So, yeah, big plays at the end of the game. And I thought the fourth quarter, man, when you can win the fourth quarter on the road against a team that was rested coming off its bye week, we all knew about Andy's success coming off the bye. Zach Cunningham has been one of the underrated standouts for this football team. He's been there. He's been durable. He's made plays. He's made tackles. And I thought that knockaway, that knockdown pass was a big one late in the fourth quarter.
It's really amazing when you look at this defense and you have Zach Cunningham contributing the way he has been contributing. Wasn't here to start the season. You have Kevin Byard, big play in that game with the interception in the red zone, did a great job covering Travis Kelce. He wasn't here even 3 weeks ago. And then Bradley Roby in the slot, another guy they signed after the season started. How impressed have you been just with those three guys to be able to step in and really help solidify this defense?
Yeah, I mean, kudos to Howie for identifying those players. Nicholas Morrow, I would throw in that mix as well. Signed as a free agent, doesn't make the initial 53 on the practice squad week one, changing diapers at home, comes off the practice squad. When Kobe Dean gets hurt, has done a nice job as well. So, yeah, they've been able to mix and match, add some pieces. Credit to the coaching staff for getting those guys up to speed quickly. Credit to the players for their ability to integrate into the defense, and they have been very important role players. Again, one of the mantras of the Philadelphia Eagles is know your role and be a star in that role, and those players exemplify that.
And I'm glad you mentioned the coaching staff because you look at Sean Desai and everybody's praising him for the second half adjustments, if there were a lot or not. Maybe it was just better execution. But you look at what he's done. We just mentioned those guys. There's been a different secondary almost every single week with injuries. Blankenship's been in and out of the lineup. Roby was hurt. You have Maddox start the season. He's out for the year. Bradbury's missed a game. Slay's missed a game. It's been amazing what Sean Desai has been able to do. How much has he impressed you as the defensive coordinator of this Eagles team?
Yeah, he's done a really good job. And look, I mean, the Eagles have had some plays against them and some, series against them and quarters against them, and they've given up some yards here and there. And we have to appreciate the fact that there have been a lot of injuries and there have been a lot of players in and out of the lineup. And Sean has been resilient and plugging in guys like Eli Ricks to get some quality snaps. And he was out there for that last play and making sure that there's no mental breakdowns. And, Sean's done a nice job. Look, I will say that the Eagles defense, as with most defenses, when they win up front, I mean, team quarterbacks, look, the book is very simple here, and it'll be interesting to see how Josh Allen, who holds the ball a lot, comes in and plays against the Eagles. But the Eagles defensive front, when the Eagles defensive front dominates, everything else falls into place, right? Just like every other defense. When the quarterback's getting the ball out of his hands quickly, it puts more stress on the back seven. And so they've held up well. I thought the bye week came at a great time. Gives the quarterbacks, older guys, a little bit of a breath, gives them fresh legs. I thought they played well last night. Bradbury had a good game. Slay had a good game. And these are the kinds of moments where you just go, look, we're playing this game by game down the stretch here. We don't care about style points. And Desai has been able to adapt, adjust on the fly, unflappable, communicating well with his players. I think he's done a really good job.
And another veteran Howie Roseman brought in late was Julio Jones. He plays 57% of the snaps last night. Is that the plan now with Goddard out, running a little bit more three wide receiver sets with Julio Jones on the field?
I didn't see the snap counts. How much did OZ play? Because
39%.
Yeah. So I mean, there was quite a bit of four wide receiver sets, Bill. So I think it's game by game. I mean, Calcaterra had an ankle injury. I don't know the extent to that. Can he play this week? Can Albert O get into the mix? Stoll's a blocking tight end primarily. I think he had one catch, a couple targets. But yeah,
Oh, did we lose Dave? I know he's doing a spot for NBC today, so we may have lost Dave.
There we go.
Oh, there he is. He's back.
There you go. Sorry about that. You have to mix and match personnel, and I thought the Eagles were able to do that. And going forward, Bill, I think it'll change from week to week depending on the matchup. And let's hope that Goddard gets back sooner rather than later. They didn't put him on IR. That has to mean something, right?
Yep.
So let's get a win on Sunday against the Bills. And I mean, again, I look at this as like the only thing that matters is getting that #1 seed in the NFC postseason, getting that bye week, having the postseason come through like a financial field. Every game you win, no matter how you do it, is just massive.
You talk about getting that #1 seed. How nice is it on Thanksgiving Day? We get to watch really all 4 teams who are vying for that #1 seed with the Eagles play. So it should be a good Thanksgiving Day of football, man.
Yeah, it should be. And I really think Green Bay has a chance to beat the Lions. I was really encouraged by their win over the Chargers. And I think that Seattle will give the Niners a really good game. We'll see. But who do the Cowboys play? The Commanders? Yeah, look, maybe the Commanders rise up after that embarrassing loss on Sunday against the Giants. I will be watching. I will enjoy it. Not sure I'm going to hang in there for the Bills or for the who do the Jets play? The Jets play somebody who's going to smoke them. But
that's Black Friday. So
yeah,
Thursday,
Black Friday.
Thursday night. You got Niners Seahawks.
Oh yeah, I'll watch that. I mean, if the wife lets me. Did I say that out loud? Yeah. I mean, I'll be watching. I think it's great, and let's hope that there's a couple of upsets there. Eagles, any help the Eagles can get here down the stretch. It's a great race in the NFC. Isn't it crazy, Bill? How at the beginning of the season we're talking about how the NFC there's a clear path, and there's just really not that many other teams that are that good, and the AFC it's all jumbled up, and there are all these good teams. And now I look and like Burrow's hurt, and Mark Andrews is hurt, and the Bills have struggled, and Jacksonville when they played big games they played poorly. And the Chiefs are really the team to beat. And the Eagles have to deal with the Lions winning a lot of games, the Niners playing great football, the Cowboys still on the heels, Seattle still hanging around there. It's a pretty crowded field in the NFC.
Yeah, it just goes to show that nobody knows what they're talking about when the season starts. Things always turn out differently than what we originally thought. But yeah, NFC is tough.
That's why it's fun, man. I don't think we really know what we're talking about during the week either. Our job is just to keep people interested until Sunday comes, and then we go, oh my God, I can't believe they called that play. I can't believe they had that personnel package. I can't believe. Well, we don't really know what the heck's going on.
Well, Dave, I appreciate you making the time. You have a great Thanksgiving. First one married, right? With the wife.
First one married the second time, Bill.
Yeah.
Again, But yes, and we're gonna have a great Thanksgiving, and happy Thanksgiving to everyone out there, all Eagles fans. Thank you all so very much. Happy Thanksgiving to Bill, to you and yours, and everybody who does the show. And once again, I say at the end of the day, go Birds!
Thank you, sir. Love when Dave joins the show, our little Eagles insider, breaking it down for us. But a big win. Man, I thought I had a late night. Dave probably had a late night. He was in Kansas City. I don't know what time he got in last night. But, guys, we are going to continue to